Hey guys, what's up? So in today's video, I'm talking about being a single guy meeting couples. So I'm not polyamorous or E&M. I'm not really sure how to identify or title this video. I'm just gonna say I'm a bisexual guy looking for threesomes. That's it. I keep it real. So using apps like Fields or 3F are pretty normal because these apps are designed for threesomes. Now, the problem with the app or these apps is that there's so many different people looking for different things, and a lot of couples are very picky. I've found that couples complicate things and they are super picky about who they meet. And I understand why. You have two people and it's like they both have to be in line with what they want, whereas I'm one person. So pretty simple. I don't have kids. I'm a single man. I'm easygoing. I'm pretty flexible with my schedule. I'm not someone that's always traveling, or I have a lot of restrictions. A lot of couples either have kids, they're traveling to another country, or one person is bi, the other person is straight, so that affects the type of threesome they're looking for. I've matched with people where the wife was into me, but then she said, "Oh, I don't know if my husband's okay with you being bi," and I'm like, I mean, that's pretty common on this app, but whatever. Or the guy is into me, but his partner isn't into me. Just being on the app felt really weird because I would get matches, but then when I would message them, they'd unmatch. Or we'd be having a good conversation, but I would mostly be talking to the guy. Like I was never talking to his partner or his wife. And at a certain point, you could realize, okay, like I don't even think his partner knows we're talking. And then when I bring it up, he'd be like, oh, well, I have to show her. And in my mind, I'm like, doesn't it make sense for both of you to be together when you match? I feel like it would be a mutual agreement. Like, okay, we both think he's hot, or especially if it's an MFM where it's mostly about your wife, it should be if she's into me, not if you're into me. But I also understand the hidden dynamic of being a couple where you're a guy and a woman, and a bunch of horny men are matching with you. And a lot of times, not for nothing, these straight men are only matching for the woman. So the guy half in the couple will get upset because he's like, dude, we're both looking for an MMF. So in these situations, he's bi. Sometimes he's straight, but it doesn't really feel good that the threesome is only about her and they're not talking to him. They're disregarding him. And he's kind of like, well, then fuck you. Like, you're not going to get with me and my wife. But I find that there's so many complications, and it's like, don't overthink it. If you match with someone, you think he's attractive or you think she's attractive, you like the bio, get coffee, get a beer. Doesn't have to be alcoholic, but just get off the app and meet in real life. I find that with all dating apps in general, people just want to do this. They're very good at doing this. They're not good at talking and connecting. I've matched with people that had very detailed bios. I felt like I was reading an essay. And then we match, and like the replies are very short and concise. And I have to pull teeth to get info out of them. And I'm like, you match with me. Why are you not really saying much? And it's like I'm still interested in this type of thing, but I do know that it's complicated. Like I've talked to couples where I matched with one couple and we talked for 3 days. It was their first time. They were like, we're nervous. We've never done this, but we're excited. And I was talking to the guy, he would send like a good chunk of a text and then disappear for like hours. And it felt like I had to keep replying to him and saying, okay, so if you're into it, do you want to meet at a bar? Do you want to meet at a coffee shop? Do you want a video call? And he would say yes, but never actually commit to the video call or commit to meeting. And that's usually a telltale sign that they're not really going to meet you. The couples that I have met or if I've ever matched with a single woman, the same day we matched, they said, okay, are you willing to do like a video call just to verify? And I'm like, of course. Like, number one, safety, caution, protecting yourself. Number two, just making sure that there's chemistry. People get on these apps and think that it's just about sex. And maybe I used to be like that, but I understand, like, I have to feel comfortable with you. I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you're on drugs or if you're an alcoholic or if you're aggressive. Like, anyone can say that they're anyone online. Like your resume can look good on paper, but then you get to the job and it's like you can't even do what you say you can do. So I understand erring on the side of caution, but at the same time, people forget you need chemistry. You need to be able to connect with someone. You need to be able to talk to someone and be in a room and like not feel awkward. But a lot of people on these apps, it feels like it usually just benefits one person. It's not really benefiting both people in the threesome. I've met couples where it's very obvious that the guy wants to do the threesome, and then his girlfriend is just kind of there like, I'm just doing this for him. And that fucking sucks. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm forcing someone to be with me. I feel like it should be a mutual thing. Like, both people should be into it. But that's not the case. In most scenarios, even though the threesomes were good, it just felt like it's one person's fantasy and the other person is just doing it just to make their partner feel good. I've seen a lot of Reddit posts where couples say, men always flake. They always say, okay, let's meet up at 7 p.m. at this bar. And then the couple gets there and then poof, he's not there. He's gone. But in my experience, it's the couples who flake. The couples will be into me and say, yeah, we want to meet you. My wife thinks that you're attractive and, we're free on weekends. We can host on most nights if we don't have kids. And then all of a sudden they stop responding. So yes, couples, you guys flake a lot. I know a lot of you guys are genuine and serious about meeting, but in a lot of my experience, couples aren't very reliable. It is what it is, but I just wish that people were more upfront about what they were looking for and more realistic about this. If you're the kind of person that you want to do this, but you're scared about doing it, you should probably wait until you feel comfortable. Or if you're not really in New York, like I've had couples match with me, they're visiting New York, but they're walking around the city all day. They're not going to be available anytime soon and they're leaving like the next day. Doesn't make sense to match with me because we're not going to meet. I feel like the point of the app is to meet people in real life. It's not necessarily to have sex. I feel like when you first meet, it should be like a date. You go to a bar, you go to a coffee shop, you talk, see if there's chemistry, you can gauge, okay, I like this person, I feel comfortable, or I don't like what they're saying, they're giving me a bad vibe, I'm not going to meet them, or I'm not going to go back home with them. But for me, I can usually gauge whether or not I'm into the person before I meet them. Some people can't really do that. I think people match because they like something in your bio or they're like, oh, okay, like he's handsome. But they'll talk to you for days and never mention meeting, never mention a video call. And one thing about me, I'm very practical. If I match with someone, I know why I match with them. I can tell them, look, I read this in your bio. I thought you were cute. I like that you speak Spanish and that you're a runner or you're an artist. But a lot of people don't even read your bio. They're doing this. Serial swipers. They're swiping on so many accounts and then you message them and they read your message and never respond. I've had the same people, sometimes couples, but usually just single men. But couples would match with me. I would message them. They left me on red. I unmatch. Guess who matches with me again? The same damn person. And I'm like, it's okay if you changed your mind, but why are you matching with me again? I think that's the biggest issue. People are just swiping with no real intention, no real plan of actually meeting someone and seeing if they want to do it. They're more addicted to the fantasy of having a threesome. But most people aren't actually serious about doing it. I think you have to like be very sure of yourself and say, yeah, I want a threesome, I'm gonna do it. The first time I met a couple on field, they matched with me. I was at work, I was leaving in about 2 hours, and the guy was running the account. So, or no, it was his account, but their accounts were linked. And we had a pretty decent conversation. He was saying his name, his age. He said, "Oh, we live in Forest Hill, Queens. You know, like we're down to meet tonight if you're down." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." And he was very adamant about communication. He said, "If anything comes up, if for any reason you want to, not meet or you change your mind, that's totally fine. Just let us know so you don't waste our time or yours." And I was like, "Oh shit, this guy is serious about meeting." And every time I messaged, he responded back within like 2 minutes. And he was like, "Yeah, like, we're heading to the bar right now." But we met at the bar, we had dinner, we had drinks, and we actually had like a face-to-face conversation. And it was a little weird at first because it's always awkward. Like being on a date in general feels awkward, but then when you're meeting a couple, the dynamic is so different. There's two of you and there's one of me. I remember I met a couple once and I mentioned that and they said, "But do you feel comfortable?" I'm like, "No, I'm comfortable. It's just the dynamic is different. Like you guys are across from me, I'm sitting across from you. I feel like I'm being interviewed." And they were just asking me 21,000 questions, which it's fine. But they were just like asking me like about my tattoo. I have a semicolon tattoo. If you know, you know. They were asking me what I do, where I work. I mentioned I speak multiple languages. I've said, yeah, I've met couples before, but in most scenarios, the couples never met someone. So I think that's where all the questions came from. But I think the thing about this is even when you meet someone, you never really know everything about them. I met one couple and I found out that one of them was on drugs and I didn't even know that. And the second time we met, because we met twice, he just started doing drugs in front of me and I was like, "Oh shit." Like he never mentioned it, and I feel like that's something you should mention on an app. And you should also ask, "Hey, are you comfortable if I start doing this activity in front of you?" But yeah, definitely no for me. Like being drunk or using recreational drugs before you have sex just doesn't make sense to me, and I feel like it lowers your vibration and you can't really connect with people that way. Also, it ruins the sex. But yeah, with the first couple, we went to dinner, we're chatting, and it felt like the guy was more into me than his girlfriend. The whole time she was doing this, texting. And whenever I'd say something like my profession or, the languages I speak, she'd like pop her head up and her eyes would kind of like glisten and then she'd go back to texting. But at one point he whispered to her and he's like, and then she's like, and then I'm like looking around, trying not to look or feel awkward. Also, I'm looking around like I feel like people know what we're doing. Like you have a man and a woman and another man sitting across from them. I'm like, they have to know that this is like a threesome situation. I don't know. I overthink. Anyway, his girlfriend says out loud, "Yeah, I'm okay with that." And then he says, "Okay, so if you would like, we would like you to come back to our house with us." And I was like, "Yeah, I was waiting for you guys. I've been down." But went to their house. It was a really hot experience, and I'm gonna tell you, male, female, male dynamic of a threesome is really hot. But it seems ironic, but it's very hard to set up. Even when everything is said and done and you meet up, it's very hard because it's like no one knows who's gonna go where and who's gonna do what. Even if you ask ahead of time, like it doesn't always play out the way you thought it would. It just kind of happens. But my first time was really hot. Everyone asked for consent. Nobody did anything the other person wasn't comfortable with. Um, we went to their house. They put on soft music. It was a pretty cool, laid back experience. My second time was really weird. I met them off of 3F, and like I said, they were drinking alcohol, taking coke, and yeah, it just ruined the experience for me. But I would say number one thing is that you have to have chemistry with each other. Everyone needs to be into each other. Can't just be that the guy is into me and his girlfriend isn't, or vice versa. Everyone needs to be into each other, because I feel like if you rush it or force it, or one person isn't really into it, you pick up on it. Maybe not all people, but I'm very sensitive to energy, and like I can tell when someone isn't really feeling something. And again, it just sucks to be in a situation. So yeah, I use Field, I use 3F, I use FetLife. I've never met anyone off of FetLife. I'm on a lot of apps that are for like swinging or polyamory. And again, not sure if I mentioned this, I'm not polyamorous. I'm not really a swinger per se, but I guess I'm new to the lifestyle. Like I'm into it. I'm just not really dating multiple people. I'm here for the ride. So I don't know. I'm curious what it's like for other men out there trying to get into polyamory. Couples, if you've been there, I want to know what it's like for you. But yeah, just my random video that I've been itching to make. And let me know if you have any suggestions. Thanks for watching.